Welcome back to Hasbro's Hyde. Moving on to the 6.5 Grendel, we're going to go back and shoot a load that was really good in our last video, and that is P.E.P.R 2000 MR powder with 120 grain ELD bullets from Hornady. Now, this is the 30 grain load in the upper left here that shot really well. We had some others that shot really well, but that one shot 0.378 MOA. And so I want to do a couple things with that today. So first, it's 30 degrees cooler probably than it was then. It's really cool. We had heavy frost this morning, so we're going to see if anything's changed. So I have 4 rounds to warm the gun up that we're going to do. Then we're going to shoot 5 in a row. And if our target is anywhere close to that, then what we're going to do is we'll take the Harrell's tuner and we're going to go up 5 of its units, up another 5 of its units, go back to 0, go down 5 on the units, and then go down another 5 here. And see the effect, and see if we can even tighten that 0.378 up any more with the tuning of the brake. So let me get things set up, and we'll start loading our powder and get our rounds started. All right, we're moving on to priming our cases. Now we're going to use Federal small rifle primers today in our RCBS hand priming system. If you're not familiar with it, I've shown it in a couple other videos, but these jaws are spring loaded, and so they're really useful in that you don't have to have a bunch of different shell holders. You just get it on there, centered up, and then it'll do the rest. It's got nice feedback as far as tactile feedback on how you see the primer, so you'll know if one is going in too heavy or if one is loose in the primer pocket. And you can make pretty fast work out of this in seating these primers. So I'll finish these up and then we'll throw our powder. All right, so now we're going on and we're throwing our powders. I use the RCBS Chargemaster Light to throw within 1/10 of a grain. And I just started it up, so it's still kind of filling the tube. So this one is probably a little bit light according to the scale. In fact, it is. But that's no big deal, because we come over here to our Maxxis Dante scale and trickle it on up to 30.0. Now this Maxxis gets us to plus or minus 0.02 is its supposed accuracy, and it's been pretty reliable, and by the calibrated weight checks it was pretty much dead on. Like any electronic scale though, they can drift a little bit, and this one's been pretty solid though in drifting. So that gets us there, 30.02, and we'll drop that one. I'll come back, grab the next one, and just repeat the process again. So this Chargemaster Light makes it really nice because you can get there close, and now it's hitting exactly where we want it to on there. And it's within 1/2 a grain on its own, but we're just trying to get a little bit better for these rounds. There I just went barely over, 0.02 over. Now will that matter? Probably not, but I can remove a couple kernels of powder there, and we're at our target of 30.02, or plus minus then 0.02. And so I'll continue through this, work our way through all these rounds, and then we'll seat our bullets. All right, seating our bullets now, and I have left the die where it was before. And this is the Hornady custom grade dies with the micrometer adjustment on the top. And they've been repeating really well. So the target of it was 2.259 was the target I had the last time. Just 1,000 shy of the technical magazine length, and you see it's exactly on that number. And I haven't had them vary more than 1,000ths either side of that. And I've loaded now, I guess this is number 15, and so they're repeating really well. So I'll finish these up, and I'll just write down the cartridge-based O drive measurement, but it's going to be the same anyway as it was before, more than likely. And but this is a new box of bullets, so we'll see. And I'll load this up, and then we'll see you at the range. All right, back in from the range after shooting our 6.5 Grendel. And what we were doing, if you remember, was shooting 30 grains here of P.E.P.R 2000 MR powder and 120 grain ELD bullets. And this is, of course, still with the Hornady brass. Well, the results were, what we're going to do was what I was planning on doing was shooting these 4 to warm up, shooting these 5 to confirm the accuracy of the last time we loaded, and then go on and adjust Harold's tuner brake up and down a little bit from where we are set at 75 and see what the result is. Well, if you can see this group here, it didn't repeat, okay? Not well enough, because we had 3/8 of an inch group before. So it didn't repeat. That was a bit disappointing. And those are all good, solid squeezes on target. This one I was hoping, this is the first shot cold bore, and then they group, so I'm thinking, hey, I'm pretty good. And I shoot these 5, and it did not give us the group as I wanted to. So at that point, I just continued shooting and said, okay, let's just see over 5 consecutive 5-round groups, how do we do with this powder and this bullet combination? Well, then it really opened up. It came back a little bit, you know, okay here, just really not that stellar. So what happened? Well, I was really careful in the powder charges. We were plus or minus 0.02 grains. I even weight sorted the bullets, okay? And they were 120 grains plus or minus 0.05 grains. And so they were, you know, trying to put everything to, you know, give this thing its best foot on trying to do as good as it can do. Well, it didn't happen. So what's the difference? Well, more than likely what's happened is the last time I shot, it was 87 degrees outside, and humidity was fairly high, in the lower 80s. Today, or yesterday, I shot, and shot this group, and it was 55 degrees and like 40% humidity. So it was much cooler and much lower humidity. So that's what's going on more than likely here, is that this powder, is P.E.P.R, is it temperature sensitive? Well, of course it is. It's a spherical or ball powder. And so they all are sensitive that way. So I'm not surprised by it. I just was, I guess, kind of hoping I wouldn't see it, but I did. So maybe later on we'll do some temperature sensitivity testing on this powder and see how we come out. But anyway, I mean, not bad results. If you're going to go hunting, you're perfectly good. You know, shoot for the heart, you're going to hit the heart. I mean, unless you really jerk it, the accuracy is there. It's just not as good as what I really was after. So, nonetheless, you know, we learned. I learned a little bit here about the powder, learned a little bit about the conditions outside and the sensitivity maybe to that. So, one other thing we're going to do, though, beyond that, is to eliminate one other thing. Now, remember, this is all after I found out the issue with this burst pepper mount, and it's got the quick release on the other side here, that it was being able to it'll bind a little bit such that when you, it felt good, felt really tight, but when you would fire, it could move just a little bit, and it would go back into a bind, and you couldn't easily detect that. So I found that out. Okay, I've got that fixed now, and the groups started getting, I mean, these are dramatically better groups than what I had before, because I'd shoot like this and get one over here occasionally like that. So I mean, that's better, but it's still not good. So what I've decided to do is 2 things. I'm going to switch this out for a mount that's on another rifle. And it's a Vortex mount, AR mount, made just, you know, by Vortex for this kind of rifle. And it has the same exact scope. So we're going to move that scope, which I've had on just recently on our CZ457 22 rifle. We're going to move it onto this gun. And then I'm going to take this scope off, put it in rings only, and put it onto the CZ457. It's going to tell me 2 things. It's going to tell me, is it the scope or the mount? We're going to get a new scope and a new mount on this. Well, how am I going to find out it's the scope? Well, that scope is going to go onto the 22 and with a different ring setup. So we'll basically remove the mount out of the question, and when we put it on the 22, and if it repeats like I just did on these 22 targets, well, then it'll be really good. Let me grab one of these and I'll show you what I mean. So I just finished this testing, and this is where I ended up with our 22, and that's less than 0.3 inches. You can look for that video. It's got more information in there on it. But So if the scope was moving, you would definitely know it, because that's they're just shooting really, really good groups there. So that scope that's on that gun is good. So we're going to move that scope and that mount. We're not going to take it off the mount. We're just going to put that mount over here, re-zero, and we'll shoot it on this rifle. So the scope, mount, everything is proven. It's been on another rifle that's been on the channel, a Wilson Combat 5.56 that shoots .43 MOA every day, really consistent. And so again, it's a proven combination of a mount and scope that we'll put onto this. And will we learn anything? Well, I hope so. I hope to find out that, hey, all of a sudden now these groups tighten up and things get better. You know, because could it be part of this? I think this is probably just the temperature and all, but maybe not. Maybe not, and we're going to find out. So we'll take the last bit here and eliminate that before I go on and do more load development with our Grendel. So anyway, I mean, not bad results, but not stellar. And the gun is capable of stellar. So we'll just have to sort that out. Before we close out this video, I thought I'd go ahead and show you. I just went ahead and decided to switch the mounts out. So this Vortex mount is just it's a really nice, clean design. Everything is I really like about it, and it's easy enough to install. You can spin it around now. All you got to do, it's not a quick release, which yeah, I doubt I ever buy another quick release. But if you can see that, well, it's just normal. It's 4 set screws. And you tighten this lock up onto the side of it. It goes underneath the rail and tightens up. And then tighten it to 30 inch-pounds with our Wheeler wrench. So on a really nice and fast, right? And really, really solid and sturdy. What I didn't show though was when I removed this, once I uncammed this again, these quick releases had loosened up, and I'll show you those in just a second. But what it also showed, you could see where the scope had been sliding just a little bit underneath there, because it had worn my coating off right underneath the mounts, and that's really irritating because you could still grab a hold of it, and it was solid as can be, so you'd feel, but it was still moving. So here are the cams, and you see down here, you see it's been rubbing on there. And it has this device which goes in one of the Picatinny slots, and that keeps it from moving too much, but it definitely was moving and rubbing a little bit side to side. So really disappointing that it does that. So I think I will contact Burris about that and see if I can get the hardware to get rid of these and just have the nuts that tighten up and torque them down. Because I think the mount itself up here is very solid and good, but this is just, I'm just not happy with it. It's not working out. Worst case, what I can do is just get a bolt and nut and tighten them up and put it on there, but I'd rather have what they designed for it to be on there. So anyway, lessons learned, and lesson learned in an expensive way with a lot of ammunition going through this gun. We'll go out and shoot this next, and we'll see how well we do, but hopefully this will make a really good improvement. So like I said before, then this scope is coming out of this mount, and it's going to go onto our our CZ457, which has just shot some amazing groups. We'll just re-zero it in. It's the same exact scope, so hopefully we get the same result. for some reason. Well, first shot looks okay for pressure. We'll keep going. We'll check the base of our case. Looks good. Yeah, that's a lot faster. 27.55. We're impacting quite a bit lower than our previous ammo, so we'll shoot this group and then make a scope adjustment. That's still looking good. Yeah, that's a better group. Zoom out, we'll take a overall picture with our app, and we'll zoom back in, get just a little bit closer picture. The light is really bad out here today. There's storms mowing through and really kind of cloudy and overcast. Yeah, that last group's not so good. I felt like I didn't do my job. Let's shoot another one. We still have one more with the Hornady brass, and then we have, or excuse me, one more with the Nosler brass. And then we have one group with Hornady 6X brass. And just all the 95 grain bullets I had left in that particular box. Wow. I really blew it because that last group was 3.2 standard deviation, 7 extreme spread, and a 2763 average. So it really shows the shooter was, yeah, not on his game on that one. Those all felt really good. So what it is will be what it is. All right, winding down this video, and I want to just summarize a few quick things we learned. So I was repeating the previous loads and thinking, okay, I'm going to adjust the Harrell's tuner brake, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and the loads didn't repeat. Well, it's about at least 30 degrees cooler. You know, that could be it, because it's a spherical powder and things like that. So yeah, probably not a great thing. P.E.P.R 2000 MR, yeah, it's going to be temperature sensitive, and I think maybe that showed its head. But at the same time, I was tired of trying to guess, is it my mount? Because I kept seeing, like I showed you in the video, this thing rubbing in the stock, or rubbing on the top of the rail on top of the receiver. It wasn't much, but just certain things would fall off in these shots that make me really, really question it. And so swapped on that new scope and the Vortex mount, and that all pretty much went away. I had one shot fall out, and that's the one I showed in the numbers. Well, actually, I'll show the numbers right after this, where it dropped 100 feet per second. So it fell a little bit below the other group, and that makes a lot of sense. So I think the Grendel is in good shape now. It's running good. We'll go back and we'll start shooting extruded powders, especially in these colder temperatures. And we have several previous loads from that are good. I'm going to shoot more of these 95 grain VMAXs. I tell you, they are shooting really well. And then we'll move in back up to some of the 123 and 129 grain hunting bullets, because I really need to get this dialed in for when I go boar hunting. But anyway, so accuracy's there. I have some loads I'm consistently at a ½ inch or below. I was hoping this P.E.P.R 2000 MR would do that. They didn't show that up. Shooter's World Precision did start to show that grouping a little bit with the 95 grain VMAX, and so it is. It's a good powder too. I said Shooter Rules Match, sorry, powder, and so that is a good combination there too, but I think it can be improved further. But at least now I have confidence that mount's no longer an issue, scope's not an issue, and we'll move on and do that. So thought I'd show that, because that explains why then you saw the additional range footage beyond what I said. I just wanted to go ahead and test another load. So I shot a previous load, the 95 grain rounds, and it did prove that the scope was stable on multiple loads. So that's good. So this thing, I'm probably just going to, unfortunately, I'm going to clean off all the coating and put this onto another rifle and test it, because it could just be the way this locks up on our B King's firearms upper. Could be it's slightly different. You know, it's their version of an upper. I'm sure they didn't make it. They have it custom engraved, but nonetheless, uppers can vary a little bit, especially when it comes to that rail, and so maybe that's it. But we'll test this on another rifle and see, because these burst pepper mounts, like I say, I have the one without the cam over locks, quick release. It's awesome, works really good. This one hasn't been, and so get all this thing cleaned up. We'll put on another gun, and we'll see what happens. If it happens again, fire sale. Just real quick though, as we end the video, I want to show you a couple things I look forward to come up on the channel. First is on our CZ457. We're going to do, I got a really good deal on eBay, and I've had some really good luck with muzzle brakes. You know, a muzzle brake for our 22 long rifle. Now, does it need this? No, of course it doesn't need this. It's all about harmonics. So I thought I'd just try it. Let's put some weight out there and see what this thing does. And so I got this. It was really a good deal, and so we'll put that on that 457 22 long rifle. And then these two boxes, what are these for? Well, if you can read that, 30-06 Springfield. And so this is a modified case gauge, so I can check you know, overall length and things like that in our rifle that we're going to be shooting. New boxes. I love these Frankfurt Arsenal boxes with the hinges. They're just, you know, that may be the only thing I buy from now on, because they work so nice to get out of the way, and they're rugged, and they're cheap. And it's like $4. Right, so cheap, and so that's even better. So that's good. But what are those for? Well, this might give you a better idea on what these are for. So if you can see this, and you can see enough of it in our field of view, this is a 1903 Springfield. Now this is a stock. I got a good deal on a sporterized 1942 1903 A1 model. It's really technically not A1, but that's what people call them. but it has the rear sight. It's not the A3 with the sight back here. It's got the sight here. So I got it sporterized, but all the mechanics of the gun, the trigger guard, the barrel, the front sight, the rear sight, all that was original to the gun, but they didn't have the original stock. So I've done some searching and finally got a stock that's correct for the period, as far as I can tell in my research. But I got this handguard. This probably won't be the handguard we use. I've got another one coming that is new old stock from the time period too to put on it. And all the other hardware then I had to get, and I've got some of that in. But we're going to be taking the sporterized model 1903 back to its original configuration, what it should look like, as close as I can right now anyway, to the 1942 conversion. I'll show some more stuff on the barrel and things like that, because the outside of the barrel, pristine, looks great. Inside the barrel, pitted, crazy. And so we'll be fitting a Criterion barrel to it and doing some precision shooting with the 1903. So look forward to that. I think it's going to be a fun project. I'll do it over the winter time, get the gun all ready to go. We'll shoot it when the weather permits. But just yet another kind of option for the channel to have a little bit of fun with. So thanks for sticking with me for this really long video. I hope you enjoyed it. The 6.5 Grendel is just an awesome gun, awesome round, and happy I got it running reasonably well now, because now I can do some more fine tuning on ammo and be confident of the equipment. So we'll catch you next time, and thanks for watching.